good. What is up, and welcome back to the Unfiltered Trainer podcast. I'm your host, Gina, aka GinaMarieFit, and welcome to volume 2 of the birthday episode, tagging this one From Struggles to Strength, the evolution of GinaMarieFit. I feel like this is a very timely podcast, not just because it just celebrated a birthday, but because the evolution of where this company, this journey started to what it's evolving to now, amongst a lot of difficulty, a lot of, unfortunate situations, unexpected situations, a serious amount of loss. It's really wild in the 10 years since I started posting on social media, just sharing my 30-pound weight loss journey, to the person that you see now. It really has been an evolution. And so since it is my birthday and we just celebrated with some wonderful friends, I wanted to really just touch on what is this unintended but necessary evolution of growth and how it kind of came about, where it's going. And if you too are in a space where, like I was last year, I did not expect I was making it to my birthday. I did not write any type of goal list. I did not make a vision board. I really just did not think like my life was going anywhere last year. And I was really stuck in the sense of trying to understand why I deserved what happened to me, trying to figure out how the hell I was supposed to survive what I was going through, and then how to navigate the fact that every single day I was waking up feeling like half of a person. And still to this day, I don't feel like I have a personality. I feel like whatever happened in my brain was so significant. And I get, as the team has told me, it's going to take years. Like, it's going to be a very slow process. I feel different. And I feel like sometimes that's the biggest struggle, is wanting to be around people who knew you before the accident. Because I feel like it's very obvious when you spend time with me, especially if we're in a large group. I get very reserved. I pull back. That just like gypsy free spirit I've been known for, I just feel like she's lost. And it kind of goes hand in hand with what we're going to talk about today. And I share that because in the last couple of weeks, I have found a renowned sense of like clarity, kind of just into why I'm here, where I need to go, and what I need to do to make these goals happen. And it came from a couple things. It came from there being no stress this year around my birthday. I was in a safe space with a good group of people that I didn't have to question a single person that was there. I then attended a conference with the Women's Professional Network that really just highlighted the beauty in Tampa and the business community, because every single person there was doing more. And it was just so refreshing to be surrounded by people who are doing more, but also want to see you elevate and be successful. And I think sometimes in life, you're put in circumstances or situations as a test. And then when you evolve from that, you get put in places you belong. And a year ago, there's no way in hell I would have ever gone to that conference. And a year later, not only was I at that conference, but I was on a list of the Tampa's 40 women to watch. And when you think about the last year of my life and where I started it, curled up in a ball, just literally in one of the darkest places I've ever been, to now really just having a vision, having a mission, and being willing to do whatever it takes to make it happen. And so this didn't happen overnight. There are 5 phases of my life when I really sat down to make this podcast that I thought about were very impactful and necessary to become the person you see today. And the first part of this is phase 1, which was my early struggles. From the moment I was brought into this world, it was not looking hot, y'all. Like, when you're given up at a young age, I feel like that created a void. The impact of abandonment is something that never goes away. And oftentimes I wonder, had it been at birth versus several years later, would I have been so affected by it? I don't know. But I feel like it's something I carried with me for a very long time, is that I would try 10 times as hard as a normal person would, because I so desperately wanted to be loved and supported and liked. And so I would surround myself with people and put myself in circumstances and befriend people that didn't reciprocate energies. And I would keep doing it just because I wanted to keep temporarily filling this void. And I say temporarily because until you actually do with the rooted issue at hand, you just keep putting a Band-Aid on these things. And so understanding that the impact of abandonment was grief. That was loss. That was one of the greatest losses of my life. And I had to learn about loss from the beginning of my life. And so what it did teach me, that I hold true to this day, is that for the people that do show up, who love you, who support you, that is where your focus has to be. You can't focus on who isn't in your life anymore. You can't focus on the people that don't include you, that don't want to do things with you, that the people that keep walking out the door and only come, when it's situationally good for them. I feel like because of that circumstance at such a young age, I feel like that did give me my heart though. At times, I wish I didn't have such a big heart, not going to lie, because I feel like with having a big heart comes great loss and great sadness. But I do feel like because I know what it's like to not be loved or wanted or accepted or appreciated, that because of that, even the littlest things like going through a drive-through, I always let people know how much I appreciate them. Or if somebody does something for me, like the gratitude I have for the people in my life is immeasurable because they truly are the foundation for what has evolved into the person you see today. I am the sum of those around me, and I am so blessed that the people in my life are of the highest quality. They literally support me to no end. They know who I am. They know my heart. I don't have to question myself with them. And it's something I've struggled with living in Tampa is people don't always see you for you. There's a lot of quick judgment, criticism, and people don't always take the time to get to know the root of the person and why some people are the way they are. And I feel like I'm so blessed because of the situation, the circumstances I went through at such a young age, that I have wonderful people that have taught me how to love. And that have taught me that this isn't some type of disease, that this isn't something that I'm going to pass on if I did have children. This isn't something I deserve. This is just a phase of my life. It's just a chapter in this story. But it really laid the groundwork for me to have to do a significant amount of introspective work, because phase 2 of this is the fact that I have dealt with mental health struggles and inner demons for the majority of my life. At a young age, especially being so young when everything happened, obviously there's a great sadness involved and a lot of confusion. But I, now really looking back on it, can see that my struggles with depression and anxiety did not come in my adult years. They started very early on. And I feel like it only progressively got worse because of burnout. I've been somebody that has always had to outwork everyone around them. When you are doing everything for yourself, if you don't come from money, you don't have somebody paying your way for school, you're full-time supporting yourself on top of doing all these things, you really have to find a way to level the playing field. And for me, that was my intelligence and my work ethic. I knew that between those two things, there was nothing I couldn't accomplish. It might take me longer, but I'm going to do everything I can to keep moving forward. And because of that, there are many times in my life that I experienced extreme burnout. And a lot of the things I have dealt with my mental health, I've had to navigate alone. It's not easy to talk to people, especially people that have like an intact support system, who don't understand what your life was like. It's not a place you want to talk about certain things that may have happened to you, because you don't want to impose on people. Even though people are willing to be supportive and listen, you definitely feel like an imposition on others. And that just stems back to phase one of all of this, is just the reality that abandonment and loss early on in life stays with you forever. But navigating my mental health struggles alone kind of became the preface for what this journey online has become. I share what I share because I didn't always have somebody that I could share these things with. And I love that I've become a safe space for other people. And I love that people can hear my story and then feel comfortable enough to share theirs with me, or take it that next step. I've had so many messages of people saying like, thank you for giving me permission to, unfollow those people I had muted, or for being willing to put myself out there, not be ashamed of the things I've gone through. It's not always easy being in this position, but when you know what it's like to fight those inner demons and come out on the other side, knowing damn well that little person is still sitting on your shoulder because that is still a part of you, it's been a blessing, to say the least, to just be able to have no shame and to speak openly and honestly, so that I can help those that are in a position that maybe they're also navigating their grief alone, or they're navigating their mental health struggles alone. It's not easy to tell people, like, I got issues. A lot of people put out a front, especially on social media. It's this glorified highlight reel. But then there comes me, and I'm sharing about my ridiculous 16-hour days, and that living in Tampa to so many looks so glamorous, and it's you're going here and you're eating out there. And then there's me out here working multiple jobs, just grateful to have an apartment over their head and food on their table. It just is nice to be the person that can mirror somebody else and just be that support system that no matter what you tell me, there will be no judgment. The third phase of this evolution from struggles to strength really came from the pressure of perfection. Some of this is self-imposed, let me be honest. Some of this is societally related. This expectation to look a certain way, to be a certain way, it really decreases your self-worth and value. Always trying to be perfect and strong and keep your head up can make you spiral like no other. And I realized that last year. When my accident happened, it was like a few weeks before we really understood the severity. But there were some things around that accident and some circumstances because of the severity that I really wasn't comfortable sharing. And I remember being in a parking lot, having like an insane panic attack for like an hour and a half, incapable of driving, just completely losing my shit in a public parking lot alone. And I think that was my turning point. I just realized here is this person that everybody thinks has so many friends, that has so much success, so much opportunity, and this poor individual is miserable and is struggling to exist. And I feel like that was my turning point because I had to accept that this had happened to me. As a result, there's a lot of life lessons I was forced to deal with, but I couldn't be perfect. I couldn't spell, I couldn't write, I couldn't do math. I was living with insane headaches that made everything I do difficult. Holding my head up felt impossible. Walking was insanely painful. I gained a lot of weight. I couldn't work out. And I became what felt like an imposter because I built a brand based off of health and wellness with the mind, body, soul. emphasis, and all I was what felt like a figment of my imagination. I felt like that person was a dream, and I couldn't find that person. I kept trying to go back, trying to find my way, but I couldn't. And it was in this turning point that I realized I couldn't go back because I wasn't meant to be where I was. I was in circumstances, I was in situations I did not belong in, I should not have been in. And in some way, this forced my hand to do everything that I was too afraid to do. And now, a year later, now that I'm no longer in those circumstances or situations, I have significantly less stress because I'm not worried about what people think of me. I'm not worried about the next shoe dropping or what the next issue is going to be, or am I going to have a job? I learned that you'd be crazy to put all of your eggs in one basket in the way life is. And that if you don't have options and something happens to you unexpected, you truly could lose it all. And I was close. It was a struggle to figure out how to support myself when I barely could walk. And just every day waking up with that awful reality that wasn't a bad dream. This is your life. And everything you do is going to be hard from this point out. So I feel like that pressure of perfection, even though I still deal with it to this day, in some way, the self-imposed side of it and the societal emphasis on it refreshingly disappeared. Because when you're continually told you survived something you shouldn't survive and you're existing when you're not supposed to be existing, I'll be damned if I spend this phase of my life concerned about what people who are doing less than me think, or trying to live up to this societal expectation that doesn't exist because it's not naturally happening. And so thanks to therapy and self-care and personal breakthroughs, this next phase of my life has progressed. The fourth phase of from struggles to strength, evolving as a person, came from the accident. Came from the shocking reality that one day you could be driving in broad daylight, just driving home, and wake up in a situation that has altered your life forever. That diagnosis of my severity of my TBI amongst my physical ailments created so much confusion, uncertainty, and fear. And the fear still exists. I have had to deal with so many physical and emotional effects that I still am trying to recover from. The memory, the cognitive deficits is unreal for me because I constantly can't remember things, forget to do things. If I don't write it down, it's not going to happen. And then I deal with the physical side of being still so weak. I have multiple areas of my body that were affected that never really fully healed. So I still have a lot of physical limitations. Because of my bones in my neck being displaced, I can't do any type of high intensity movement. And so then I had to come to a period of my life and accept that I wasn't getting my body back the way I thought. That person that built this account, I may never be able to be that physically natured. And it created what has felt like a crisis. A self-identity crisis, because if I'm not these things that I am known for, then who am I? Which really led to what you see now. Towards the end of last year, when I was just really in a serious state of struggle, I had to sit down with myself and decide, what are you going to do? Are you going to sit here and allow this to completely define you, or are you going to fight? And in that decision, I didn't know how I was going to do these things, but I made a list. And I said, this is what I want. I don't know how it's going to happen. I didn't know if I was capable, but this is what I wanted. And if I was going to be alive and I was going to survive what I survived of all of these crazy years, then we're going to change things up. And I was just tired. I was tired of not feeling like myself. I was tired of looking myself in the mirror and just sobbing. I was tired of the hearsay and just people's opinions and criticism because I have a disability that you physically can't see. And because people didn't know the severity, there's a lot of judgment. I just finally was done with it all. And I took steps to find closure and heal without having to physically be in the presence of the people I needed to heal from and the circumstances I had endured. And I say that this really became my second turning point because the podcast was started, my Sweating Together for a Cause, my charity collaboration organization. In my heart, I knew that is the direction my life needed to go. And I realized that I needed to generate a life that I was in control of so that when circumstances or situations happen, I would feel less fearful because I controlled my life. I had multiple streams of income. I had multiple different opportunities that I had established and earned and created. And that's really where I found the light. And that has kind of been the preface privately behind the scenes of 2024 is that I've had a running list of goals, ideas, and options of things I wanted to pursue, and that I've just been silently grinding behind the scenes. And I feel like that has been one of the biggest parts of my evolution because I didn't need support. I didn't need somebody to reaffirm what I was doing. I just did it. And I knew that those who genuinely wanted to be a part of these things would come along for the ride and they would support me wholeheartedly. And they did. That's been the most refreshing thing, I think. And I felt it most at my birthday last weekend. Because, 2 weekends ago now, I guess. Yeah, 2 weekends ago. Is that I was just surrounded by people that loved me. Who supported me, who appreciated me. And I didn't question a single soul. I didn't feel compelled to invite anybody because of associations. I just got to include people in my life who have been active roles, had active roles in the evolution that you see that has become 2024. And it's pretty incredible because I chose to take everything that was meant to destroy me. And instead of allowing that to happen, I evolved and I used it as a means to get me to the point you see today. And so I chose to use everything that was destroying me as a foundation for which I would build the person that I know, like, and trust. And I feel like that is the beauty, sadly, that comes from the last phase of this podcast episode, the reality of losing yourself and experiencing the darkest times of your life. I feel like, sadly, when you lose yourself and you hit rock bottom and you have to question your identity, your purpose, your existence, when you have to navigate dark times, you truly are faced with decisions. And not everybody gets to evolve the way I have evolved. And I'm not quite sure at the end of the day how I was able to evolve and to not let it completely ruin me. But I feel like when you are faced with uncertain times or dark times, that it is your opportunity to overcome adversity, to tap into your resilience, and in one way creates this beautiful, what feels like a cliche to say, blank canvas that you're able to rebuild and recreate and redefine. And in a way, that becomes the most important turning point, is when you rediscover your purpose, your existence. And in a way, that becomes the most vital growth, is overcoming adversity and then growing through that adversity, overcoming your setbacks, your failures, and realizing that every single thing that wasn't meant for you or didn't work out was necessary to get to the next phase of your own evolution. So I feel like when I think about last year's birthday episode and just the fact that truly I did not see me being here in 2024, and the fact that when I think back to how dark that was, and I think about how as this year has progressed, slowly redefining what I want my life to look like, the kind of person I want to be. I want to heal from the times that I didn't serve people right or didn't treat people right. At the end of the day, regardless of what we go through, we are responsible for our own actions, our words. People can't make us feel any sort of way unless we give them power. And in those moments when you are broken, sometimes you do allow yourself to go to places that are not places you'd be proud of being. And that was a lot of my 2023. So I feel like in a way, being given that second chance created the most important evolution of my life, because I can confidently hold my shoulders back, speak on the circumstances I've been through. I'm not ashamed of my past. I'm not ashamed of what I've gone through. I'm not ashamed to say that I have these inner demons and I struggle to this day. I'm so grateful that overcoming the pressure of perfection has taught me that there are good parts, whereas being the hardworking, natured person I am, I want to hold on to that. But I want to recognize that enduring this disabling diagnosis has also forced me to realize that I had no balance in my life, and that burnout will truly be my demise if I didn't find some way to start setting boundaries and to say no, and to stop surrounding myself with people that I felt compelled to be around to appease others. And in losing myself, I truly did find who I was meant to become. And what's beautiful about all of this is that I'm able to truly not even redefine, but completely develop this person that I would have never thought I would have become. I don't have to stutter when I say that I own a business. And now I don't have to stutter when I say I own 2 businesses, because I was recently just recognized by the state of Florida. Sweating Together for a Cause is its own entity and company now. That was my Christmas gift to myself. I took the leap and made it possible. I just think after everything I've been through in this crazy life, it was all necessary. It was necessary to be the kind of person that has a heart big enough to see those in need and create a company that services those who were in similar circumstances that you previously were at a different age. I think there's beauty in realizing that I thought I was a good person, but I wasn't as good of a person as I thought, but I've become better. I think there's beauty in finding your own closure with those who may have harmed you and being able to heal yourself. And I think there is beauty in learning that the struggles are not over. There will be setbacks every phase of your life, of your own evolution. And those are just turning points to redefine and reaffirm the direction you want to go. So when I think about this last year of my life, what I can confidently say is that I am grateful for my family, for my friends who are family. I am grateful for every person I have met in my time in Tampa. I am grateful for the people that are truly what feels like my core group of like inner circle, close to me friends that just wholeheartedly support everything I do. I am grateful that I've had so many opportunities, diverse opportunities of employment, and that I am grateful now to be this business owner and leader who is evolving into a vision that wasn't even something I was capable of creating a year ago. And now I have sat down and created a vision board. I have made a list of things that I will accomplish in 2025. And I have made extremely bold goals that I know in my heart aren't just possible, they're realities. So I feel like when you think about your own evolution, take the time to write about your journey, your struggles. What did you learn from them? How did you adapt? What have you overcome? And keep that somewhere safe so that on the days, if you're anything like me, where you feel like you haven't done enough, created enough, haven't been successful enough, feel ashamed in some way, it'll be your tangible reminder that you are so much more than what you may feel in that moment. And there is so much more for you once you overcome these moments. This life isn't easy. We don't always get to be surrounded by people that know, like, and trust us. We don't always get to be in circumstances or situations that yield success. But everything is necessary to become the person we are intended to become. And if you're anything like me, you've really recognized that the evolution never stops. So, to those listening, we have reached a crazy amount of countries now and cities. This was a passion project for 2024, something I just wanted to be consistent with. I just wanted to lay the foundation. I wanted to learn and grow. And now in 2025, the podcast too is on that list of things that will be expanded. So just thank you. Thank you to everybody that supported me, no matter what the venture is, who's been by my side, and who has accepted the person that I am, knowing that I have a good heart. Like I say, best intentions, questionable outcomes, but in my heart of heart, I know I'm a good person, and it's because of all of you who continue to inspire and empower me to be the person you see today. So we're going to end it there, y'all. Continue to be the kind of people and the kind of change you want to see in this world. And I will see you in the next episode. Stay tuned. We will chat soon.